Maybe you feel tired more often than you used to. Or perhaps you've recently had a checkup and heard something about your kidneys that made you pause. It can be worrying, can't it? Especially when you hear things about what you should and shouldn't eat. It feels like the foods you've enjoyed for years might suddenly be off limits. Protein, in particular, is something we know is important. But for kidney patients, it can feel like a puzzle. Too much protein can put extra strain on your kidneys, making their job harder. But you still need protein to keep your muscles strong and your body working right. It's a painful reality to navigate, feeling like you have to sacrifice nutrition or enjoyment for health. What if I told you there's a way to make smarter choices about protein that can support your kidneys without giving up delicious, nourishing food? There's a kind of secret to choosing proteins that work with your kidneys, not against them. In this video, we're going to uncover that secret together. We'll look at 4 of the best proteins you can eat to support your kidneys and 6 that are generally tougher on them and best to limit or avoid. It's about making informed choices, not restrictions. Watch to the end for something that will surprise you about taking control of your kidney health through your diet. Okay, so we've talked about how figuring out protein can feel a bit daunting when you're trying to look after your kidneys. But let's dive right into some good news and start with some of those friendly proteins we mentioned. The first one that often comes up when we talk about healthy eating, and it's generally good for your kidneys in moderation, is fish, especially the fatty kind, like salmon, mackerel, or sardines. Now, why fish? Well, fish provides high-quality protein. What does that mean? It means it has all the essential amino acids your body needs, and it's usually easier for your body to use compared to some other protein sources. But here's the key for kidneys: fish, especially fatty fish, is also packed with those wonderful omega-3 fatty acids. These aren't just good for your heart and brain. They can help reduce inflammation throughout your body, and that includes your kidneys. Inflammation can sometimes contribute to kidney damage over time, so anything that helps calm things down is a plus. When you're choosing fish, think about baking, grilling, or poaching it instead of frying. Frying adds extra unhealthy fats and often sodium, which isn't ideal for blood pressure, and keeping blood pressure in check is incredibly important for kidney health. A simple baked salmon fillet with some steamed green beans and a small serving of brown rice can be a fantastic, kidney-friendly meal. Just be mindful of portion sizes. Remember, even good proteins need to be consumed in amounts that are right for your individual kidney function. Your doctor or a dietitian can help you figure out the right amount for you. But generally, a portion about the size of a deck of cards is a good starting point for protein at a meal. Moving on from the sea, let's talk about another staple poultry. Think skinless chicken or turkey. This is another source of high-quality protein that can be a good fit for many people with kidney concerns. Again, focusing on moderation and preparation. Why poultry, like fish? It provides complete protein. But the crucial part here is choosing skinless cuts. The skin is where a lot of the saturated fat is, and keeping unhealthy fats in check is part of a kidney-friendly diet, just like it is for heart health. Plus, commercially prepared poultry items often come with added salt and flavorings, especially things like chicken nuggets or processed turkey slices, which we'll touch on later. So, when you're having chicken or turkey, opt for a plain chicken breast or turkey tenderloin. Again, baking, grilling, roasting, or stir-frying using healthy oils sparingly are your friends. A simple grilled chicken salad, watch the dressing. High-sodium dressings are common, or a small piece of roasted turkey breast with colorful roasted vegetables can be both delicious and supportive of your kidney health. It's about enjoying the food in its more natural state and controlling what goes into it. Avoid things like rotisserie chickens from the grocery store if you have strict sodium limits, as they are often injected with salty solutions for flavor and moisture. Making it yourself at home gives you control. Now, what about those incredible edible eggs? Eggs are another fantastic source of high-quality protein. They contain all those essential amino acids we talked about. and they're relatively low in phosphorus compared to some other protein sources, which is a mineral kidney patients often need to monitor. Plus, they're versatile and relatively inexpensive. One large egg contains about 6 grams of protein. For many people managing kidney health, eggs can be a regular part of their diet. Keeping portion sizes in mind, you can enjoy eggs in so many ways: boiled, scrambled, poached, or as a simple omelet filled with kidney-friendly vegetables like bell peppers, onions, or spinach. Be careful with added salt or high potassium ingredients depending on your specific kidney needs. For instance, cheese in an omelet can add sodium, saturated fat, and phosphorus, so use it sparingly if needed. An egg or two for breakfast with a side of fruit and a small piece of whole grain toast, depending on your phosphorus needs, can be a very satisfying and nutritious start to the day. The protein helps keep you feeling full, which can help manage your appetite throughout the day. So, we've looked at some excellent protein choices from the animal kingdom: fish, poultry, and eggs, focusing on quality and mindful preparation. But it's not just about what comes from animals. As we think about rounding out our best protein list, we have to talk about the power of plants. And that brings us to our fourth category of kidney-friendly protein sources: plant-based options like beans, lentils, and tofu. Now, you might think of beans and lentils as just carbs, but they are powerhouse sources of protein and fiber, plus many vitamins and minerals. For kidney patients, plant proteins can be particularly beneficial. They often have less of the type of waste products that are hard for kidneys to filter compared to animal proteins. Plus, the fiber in beans and lentils is fantastic for digestive health, which can help the body eliminate some waste through the gut instead of solely relying on the kidneys. Tofu, made from soybeans, is another versatile plant-based protein that can be used in many dishes. Incorporating beans and lentils is surprisingly easy. You can add cooked lentils to soups or stews, make a simple bean salad, or use them in chili. Watch the salt in canned versions and seasonings. Rinse canned beans thoroughly to reduce sodium content. Tofu can be stir-fried, baked, or even scrambled like eggs. A lentil soup with lots of vegetables, or a stir-fry with tofu and kidney-friendly veggies like broccoli and carrots can be a delicious and kidney-supportive meal. These plant proteins are often lower in saturated fat and cholesterol than some animal proteins, which is another plus for overall health, especially heart health, which is closely linked to kidney health. So, we've highlighted 4 great protein choices: fish, especially fatty fish, skinless poultry, eggs, and plant-based options like beans, lentils, and tofu. These provide high-quality protein that your body needs while generally being easier on your kidneys when consumed in appropriate portions and prepared simply. But, as we mentioned earlier, it's not just about adding the good stuff. Sometimes, knowing what to step back from or consume less often is just as important. And that brings us to some proteins that your kidneys might find a bit harder to handle, especially when they're already working hard. Let's talk about red meat. While red meat can be a source of protein and iron, it often contains more saturated fat than poultry or fish. More importantly for kidney patients, metabolizing protein from red meat can produce more acid and waste products that the kidneys have to filter out. Eating large amounts of red meat, especially frequently, can potentially increase the workload on your kidneys. This isn't to say you can never have a small, lean piece of red meat occasionally, but it's generally recommended to limit it compared to other protein sources if you have kidney concerns. When you do choose red meat, opt for leaner cuts like sirloin or tenderloin. Keep the portion small and have it less often. Think of it as a treat rather than a daily staple. Now, let's move on to some real culprits: processed meats. This is where things get tricky because they're often convenient and tasty, but they are generally not friends to your kidneys or overall health. We're talking about things like sausages, bacon, hot dogs, and many packaged meats. Why are these problematic? Several reasons. First, they are often very high in sodium, which is bad for blood pressure and can cause fluid retention, both of which are hard on kidneys. Second, they contain preservatives like nitrates and nitrites, which have been linked to other health issues and aren't beneficial for anyone, let alone someone managing kidney disease. Third, they can be high in unhealthy saturated and trans fats. And fourth, they still contribute to the protein load that your kidneys have to process, but they come with so many extra downsides. Avoiding or severely limiting processed meats is one of the best things you can do for your health if you have kidney issues. Instead of bacon for breakfast, try a scrambled egg or a small piece of avocado on whole grain toast instead of a hot dog. Maybe a small grilled chicken breast or a bean burger. It requires a bit more planning, but the long-term benefits for your kidneys and overall well-being are immense. This category also often includes things like pre-made burger patties that might have added salt and fillers. Always read labels carefully. Closely related to processed meats are deli meats, also known as luncheon meats or cold cuts. Think sliced ham, turkey breast the processed kind, not plain roasted, bologna, and salami, like processed meats. These are notorious for being loaded with sodium. Even the ones marketed as low-fat can be sky-high in salt. People often eat sandwiches made with generous portions of deli meat every day for lunch, which can add up to a significant sodium and protein burden over the week. Choosing freshly roasted and sliced turkey or chicken breast from the deli, ask if they add salt, or solutions can be slightly better. But still, commercially prepared meats are often high in sodium. A truly kidney-friendlier option for sandwiches is using leftover home-cooked skinless chicken or turkey, or opting for plant-based fillings like hummus watch, potassium, phosphorus if needed, or mashed avocado and vegetables. Even a simple egg salad made with low-sodium mayo if you use it can be a better choice than regular deli meats. Moving on to another protein source that needs careful consideration for kidney patients' organ meats. This includes liver, kidneys, animal kidneys, that is, heart, and gizzards. Organ meats are incredibly nutrient-dense, packed with vitamins and minerals, and are a source of protein. However, they are also typically very high in phosphorus and purines. High phosphorus levels can be problematic for kidney patients because damaged kidneys struggle to remove excess phosphorus from the blood, which can lead to bone problems and calcification in blood vessels. Purines break down into uric acid, and while managing uric acid is more critical for conditions like gout, it adds to the overall metabolic waste load. So, while occasionally having a small amount of organ meat might be acceptable for some, it's generally recommended that kidney patients avoid or severely limit them due to the high phosphorus and purine content. You can get the necessary vitamins and minerals from kidney-friendly vegetables, fruits, and other protein sources without the added burden. Next on our list of proteins to be cautious with is excessive dairy. Dairy products like milk, cheese, and yogurt are good sources of protein and calcium, but they are also often high in phosphorus and potassium. As we mentioned, high phosphorus is a concern for kidney patients. Potassium also needs to be monitored by many people with kidney disease, as impaired kidneys might not be able to remove excess potassium from the blood, leading to potentially dangerous levels. This doesn't necessarily mean all dairy is off limits for everyone with kidney disease. Some lower phosphorus dairy options might be suitable in moderation, and portion control is key. However, consuming large amounts of dairy, or choosing dairy products that are particularly high in phosphorus like hard cheeses or some yogurts, needs to be discussed with your doctor or a renal dietitian. They can help you understand your specific phosphorus and potassium limits and how dairy fits into your diet. Sometimes, switching to non-dairy alternatives like rice milk or almond milk, checking for added phosphates or potassium, though less common than in dairy, might be necessary. But always ensure you're getting calcium from other sources if you reduce dairy significantly. Finally, let's talk about protein powders and supplements. These have become very popular, but for kidney patients, they should be approached with extreme caution and ideally only used under the guidance of a healthcare professional or renal dietitian. Why protein powders provide a concentrated source of protein, which adds significantly to the protein load your kidneys have to process. Many also contain added vitamins and minerals, including large amounts of phosphorus, potassium, and sodium, which can be detrimental if you need to limit these nutrients. Using protein powders to boost protein intake without careful monitoring can easily lead to consuming too much protein for your kidney function and potentially taking in excessive amounts of minerals that your kidneys can't clear. It's almost always better to get your protein from whole foods like fish, poultry, eggs, and plant sources, where the protein comes packaged with other nutrients and fiber in a less concentrated form. If you feel you need a supplement due to specific dietary restrictions or needs, it is absolutely essential to talk to your doctor or a renal dietitian first to find out if it's safe for you and what kind and amount might be appropriate. Don't just pick one up based on marketing claims. So, to quickly recap some of those trickier proteins: red meat, processed meats like sausage, bacon, deli meats, organ meats, excessive dairy, and most protein powders are generally less kidney-friendly and often best limited or avoided depending on your individual condition. Navigating kidney health through diet might feel like a lot to take in, and figuring out the best protein sources versus the ones to avoid is a big piece of that puzzle. We've talked about leaning into options like fish, skinless poultry, eggs, and plant-based proteins such as beans, lentils, and tofu, which offer high-quality protein that's generally easier for your kidneys to process when eaten in the right amounts. And we've discussed being cautious with or limiting red meat, processed meats, deli meats, organ meats, excessive dairy, and protein powders due to concerns like protein load, sodium, phosphorus, and potassium. Remember, making these dietary shifts isn't about being perfect overnight. It's about making conscious, gradual changes that you can stick with. Think about swapping out one less friendly protein meal a week for a kidney-friendly one, and then gradually increasing that over time. Instead of a large steak, maybe try a smaller piece of lean steak less often, or switch to baked fish. Swap your regular sandwich meat for homemade chicken salad. Replace bacon at breakfast with an extra egg or some avocado. These small adjustments add up and can make a significant difference in supporting your hardworking kidneys. The most important thing is to remember that you are not alone in this. Managing kidney health is a journey, and knowledge is your most powerful tool. Understanding why certain foods are better or worse helps you make empowered choices in the grocery store and in the kitchen. It's not just about following a list. It's about understanding the principles so you can adapt them to your own tastes and lifestyle. And speaking of adapting and understanding, the absolute best resource for tailoring this information to your specific needs is your healthcare team, especially a registered dietitian who specializes in kidney disease. A renal dietitian. They can look at your lab results, your current diet, and your lifestyle to create a personalized plan just for you. They can tell you the exact protein goals you should aim for, which minerals you need to watch most closely, and how these general guidelines apply to your unique situation. This video provides a framework, but professional guidance is invaluable. Taking steps to eat more kidney-friendly protein isn't about deprivation. It's about nourishment. It's about choosing foods that help your body feel better and function more smoothly. It's about reducing the burden on your kidneys so they can keep doing their vital job of filtering waste and balancing fluids in your body, helping you feel more energetic and healthier overall. Imagine having more energy to do the things you love, whether that's spending time with family, pursuing a hobby, or just enjoying your day-to-day life. That's the real payoff of making these positive changes. It can sometimes feel overwhelming when you first learn you need to watch your diet for kidney health, but try not to get discouraged. Every healthy meal, every smart protein swap, is a step in the right direction. Celebrate the small wins. Focus on adding the good stuff, more vegetables, fruits, and those friendly proteins, and the less helpful foods will naturally take up less space on your plate. We covered a lot of ground today, exploring the proteins that can be allies for your kidneys and those that can pose more of a challenge. Remember the 4 potentially best options: fish, skinless poultry, eggs, and plant-based proteins like beans and lentils. And be mindful of the 6 potentially worse ones: red meat, processed meats, deli meats, organ meats, excessive dairy, and protein powders. What did you find most surprising or helpful in this video? Did any of the worst proteins catch you off guard? Or did you learn a new way to incorporate one of the best ones? I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Sharing what you're going through or what you've learned can be incredibly helpful for others watching too. It builds a wonderful sense of community. If you found this information valuable and feel like it gave you some practical steps to take, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps more people who could benefit from this information find it. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. We share lots of tips and information specifically aimed at helping you live your healthiest, happiest life at every age, covering topics just like this one that can make a real difference in your daily well-being. Don't miss out on future videos that can empower you with knowledge. Taking charge of your health, especially something as important as kidney health, is a powerful act. You have the ability to make choices every day that can support your body. It's about being informed, being kind to yourself, and taking consistent steps forward. You are capable of making these changes and feeling better because of them. Keep learning, keep making those mindful choices, and keep living your best life at every age.